This video will include instructions on how to operate your Benyar chronograph watch. This one happens to be model BY-5140M. Alright, the first thing we should do is set the date. So right now the date is currently on 17, but let's say I want to set it to the 20th. So what I like to do is to pull the crown all the way out to position 2. Now this particular watch does not have a screw down crown. It is just a push-pull crown. So this will just pull out to the first position is the first click, and then a second position is the second click. So this is actually in time setting position. But before setting the date, what I want to do is move the hands to about the 6 o'clock position. Because when I receive this watch, I don't know if it's an AM or PM. So we're going to go ahead and set it just to 6 o'clock. And the other reason I like to go to 6 o'clock is because since this has an auto change date feature, it usually starts to engage the date wheel between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. So we don't want to set the date within that range, okay? So just make sure it's out of that range. 6 o'clock should be safe. I'm going to go ahead and push the crown back in. Now to set the date, we're going to just pull the crown to the very first position. Now you might miss it. It's just a slight click, usually with a fingernail, and it's just right there. And now we're going to advance the date by turning the crown clockwise, and you'll see it go to 18 and then go to 19. Now I said earlier I want to set it to the 20th, but I don't want to set it to the 20th now because I'm not quite sure if I'm an AM or PM. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 19. I'm going to push the crown out now to time position or time setting position, and I'm going to start to advance the hands going counterclockwise, and I'm going to keep going until I flip over to 20. It might happen now. Yep, it's happening now. So that means I was already in PM. And you can see the date start to advance, and it should flip over at about midnight. And so now I'm done. Okay, now let's go ahead and set the time. So the first thing I like to do is pull it to position 1. Now I want to hack this movement. So we want to stop the second hand as it comes around to midnight, right there. So now I pulled it to position 2. That hacked the movement, so my second hand is at 0. So I should be at 3 a.m. right now because I just changed my date. So let's say we want to set this watch to 1 p.m. I'm going to continue rotating the hands counterclockwise on the crown to advance the time. I'm going to come around, and I should still be in the AM, so the date should not change. And I'm going to go to 1 o'clock. So there is 1 p.m. Now what I like to do personally is to actually advance it a little bit forward and then come back. I think in most movements, this actually kind of takes up some of the drivetrain slack. So I'm going to go ahead and come back, reverse it right to 1 o'clock, try to get everything aligned. Now I have to carefully, if I miss it, I can always go back, come back to the minute hand here. And so I'm about where I want to be. Now I have to carefully push this crown back in. So depending on the quality of the movement, obviously if you have a nice Swiss-made quartz movement, when you push the crown in, hopefully that minute hand's not going to stumble around. But on some of these less expensive watches, the minute hand might move a little bit. So you just want to carefully push this crown in so that minute hand doesn't jolt too far. So let's see if I can do this. Oh, pretty good. And as I push that back in, my second hand continues to turn, and I'm currently set at 1 p.m.